Okay, good day, students. So our topic is all about percentage taxes or other percentage taxes. Okay? So this is our objectives. First is explain the concept and kinds of the percentage tax, and then compute the correct percentage tax. Okay, so there are 13 kinds of percentage taxes. So the first one is tax on persons exempt from value-added tax. So we know our threshold for value-added tax, which is more than 3 million. Generally, they are vatable individuals. So beginning 2018, if your annual sales or receipts are greater or more than 3M, so you are you are subject for value-added tax. But if your annual gross sales or receipts is 3 million and below, beginning 2018, you are generally under OPT, no, under Section 116. But if you want to register under the VAT system, you can still register it, no, pwede naman. And it is irrevocable for 3 consecutive years. So that's 3% ang ating OPT for tax on persons exempt from value-added tax. Okay, so later we will discuss more on it. Second one is the common carrier tax. So we have the common carrier or the domestic carriers and keepers of garages. So we have our base here is still 3%, but we need to compare the actual gross receipts and the minimum gross receipts, no, whichever is higher. So we have several thresholds, no, based on the domestic carriers. So either it's for cargo or passengers, etc. So later we will also discuss on it. No? Number 3 is percentage on the international carriers. So for international carriers, or we have this 3%, 3% based on gross receipts. Okay, so under Section 118 of the NIRC. Okay, and then number 4 is franchise tax. Franchise tax natin for grantees, no, franchise grantees. So for gas and water utilities and even the radio and television broadcasting. So we have also tax on that. We have the OPT. And then number 5 is the overseas communication tax, overseas dispatch. We have this 10% based on the um, payment of services. Okay. And then for number 6, gross receipts on the banks and non-bank financial intermediaries. So we have several rates on gross receipts, either 5, 1, 0, or 7%. And then number 7 is tax on other non-bank financial intermediaries. So we have also tax rate, so from 1% to 5%. Number 8 is premiums tax on life insurance premiums. So we have also the rate, which is depending, no? So depending, usually it's 4% for the gross receipts. For life insurance, we have 2% and for life insurance, and then we have also 4% for foreign insurance, and then we have several rates on it, so you need to memorize and familiarize on it. And then number 10 is amusement tax. So we have several percentage, so either 10 to 30%, and then we have tax on winnings, then stock transaction tax, and tax on sale or exchange through IPO. So these certain kinds of percentage tax, you need to memorize the taxation on this, or you need to put it somewhere in your room so that you can familiarize all these percentage tax. Okay, so now let's go to number 1. Okay, number 1 is tax on persons exempt from value-added tax, so under Section 116 of the NIRC. So requisite here is not a VAT registered person, so hindi na-register sa VAT. And of course, their annual gross sales or receipt do not exceed 3 million. So beginning 2018. And they are not also exempt from VAT, no? Yung mga non-VAT, non-exempt no, from VAT under Section 109A to 109 AAA. So who are those exempt? So we have cooperatives. Cooperatives, they are not subject for OPT. And then for those individual who avail the 8% tax, no, on gross sales and or receipts. So under non-operating income sa new train law ito, no? Kasi kung they avail the 8%, they are not subject for the 3% OPT, and then they are not subject also for income tax. So 8% lang the whole tax nila, no? So combine na yan for the income tax and ang kanilang business tax. So that's for the 8%. And then our base here is 3% of your quarterly gross sales or receipts. Okay? So yung gross sales for the taxpayer who engage in sale of goods, and then gross receipts if the taxpayer is engaged in the sale of services. Okay? And take note, yung ating gross sales here, after deducting the returns and the discount, no, to arrive your tax base. Okay? This is our example, no, from your SIM. So Mr. AG, whose gross annual sales never exceeded 3 million. Okay, so meron talaga yung mga previous transactions, no, i-evaluate yung last year, whether they exceed to 3M or they are not exceeding. Kasi our threshold for value-added tax is 3 million or more than 3 million. Okay? So in the following year, these are their gross sales, 100,000, but there is sales returns and allowances of 5,000 and sales discount of 2,000 for January 2020. And then compute for the percentage tax. Under the train law class, hindi na ito, kasi dati kasi ang payment natin for the percentage tax is monthly. Monthly yan before, every 20 days of the, after the following month, no? But the new train law, quarterly na tayo. So 20 days at the end of the quarter. So usually quarter ang bayad natin, no, for the OPT. So compute for the percentage tax. So again, our base is after deducting the sales returns and the sales discount. So you deduct first the sales return and the sales discount. So our base here is 93,000 and then multiply it with the 3%. So Mr. AG will pay to the BIR amounting to 2,790. Okay? Next is, this is the summary rule, no, for tax on person exempt from VAT. If it is more than 3 million, again, beginning 2018, no, generally, value-added tax. But 3 million and below, beginning 2018, OPT tayo, no, under Section 116, no, on the NIRC. So, however, if the taxpayer will opted to register under the VAT system, kasi pwede kasi siya mag-VAT, value-added siya, if he wants, no? So, kung mag-VAT siya, irrevocable yung kaniyang registration for 3 consecutive years. So, kahit na 3M and below. Pero kung he wants to, again, to change to OPT, after 3 consecutive years, pwede naman siya, no? Pwede naman siya mo change to OPT. Okay? The second percentage tax is tax on domestic carriers. Domestic, you know, and keepers of garages. So we call it domestic common carriers. So who are person liable here? First is cars for rent on or hire driven by the lessee. Sample, rent a car. No? Second is transportation contractors, including person who transport passengers for hire. And then other domestic carriers by land for transport of passengers. Then keeper of garages. So they also subject for OPT, 3% OPT, no? But we have some exemption. The first one is owners of bangkas and owners of animal-drawn two-wheeled vehicles. So, ito yung mga kalesa and mga itong bangka code, no? So, wala silang OPT, okay? Pero kung they will subject for income tax, no? Kasi ang income tax always mo na siya na ano siya diya. But for the business tax, they are exempted. So our base here is 3% of actual quarterly gross receipts from transport of passengers and minimum quarterly gross receipt whichever is higher. So you need to compare the actual versus the minimum. Compare ninyo whichever is higher. So that's our base and then multiply with 3%. Okay? So we have our minimum. Ito yung minimum natin. I hope it's clear from you. Jeepney for hire, no, Manila and other cities. So their minimum gross quarterly receipt is 2,400. Okay? You compare it with the actual, so whichever is higher, and then multiply with 3%. For provincial, for jeepney, 1,200, compare it to the actual. Quarterly yan ha, for 3 months. And then multiply with 3%. Okay? For public utility bus, so mga bus, not exceeding 30 passengers, their minimum gross quarterly receipt is 3,600. Exceeding 30 passengers but not exceeding 50 passengers, so 6,000. Kung lumampas ng 50 passengers, 7,200. So compare it with the actual, whichever is higher. And then for taxis, Manila and other cities, 3,600. Provincial, 2,400. So gamay ra, no? So when we compute it, 3,600 divided by 312 per month. So anyway, you compare it with the actual. And then car for hire with driver, with chauffeur. So 3,000 ang minimum. Car for hire without the driver, 1,800. So compare actual and this one. So that's where that would be your tax base. So I think I don't know if there are sample if there in your scene, no? Basta yung ano lang natin is the actual gross receipt and then compare natin ito. So usually mulampas yun na siya, no, sa minimum gross quarter. If you will divide it with 3, maliit siya, no? Maliit siya. Kasi quarter is 3 months. So 2,400 divided by 3. So monthly 800. So imposible. So dapat mas malaki yung actual compared to the minimum. Okay? A summary rule for domestic common carrier, if by land, passengers, OPT, for cargo and goods, di-read natin yung OPT dito kasi usually silent ang problem, value added talaga yan sila. No? Especially if during this time, no, VAT yan sila. But mag-OPT if they want to be an OPT, no, kanang hindi less than 3M ang kanilang sales. So pwede silang mag-OPT. Pero majority VAT yung mga cargo and goods, no? By air, for passenger goods or cargos, VAT. By sea, passengers, goods or cargos, VAT, no? They will be subject for OPT if their gross sale is lesser than 3M. So, meron pa rin tayong threshold. So, that's the summary, no? We have an example. Very good. Okay. Example. Pasada Company is a common carrier with passengers, buses, and cargo trucks. Okay? For the month of June 2020, it had the data on revenues and receipt, taxes not included. Okay? So for transporting passenger, gross revenues and receipts of 330,000. So mas malaki sa minimum, di ba? Kamay ba itong minimum dati, no? So, ito yung i-base natin. Gross receipt, 330 times 3%. So, percentage tax. For transporting cargos, gross revenue of 220, of which 200,000 was received. So, if you observe, we use yung cash received, the 200,000. Diba? Kasi usually, for the BIR, cash basis kasi yung BIR, no? Cash basis tayo. So, 200,000 received. And then, for renting out to MMDA, it's towing trucks, gross receipt of 50,000, representing 10,000 from gross revenue of the quarter ending March 31 and 40,000 for the month of June. But they are collected in the month of June. Diba? Then cash basis yung BIR. So all 50,000 is included, no? As your tax base. So 200, ito yung na-receive natin, and the 50,000, okay? So total is 250,000 multiply with 3%. So Pasada company will pay to the BIR 7,500 for the second quarter. Second quarter naman itong June, no? First quarter natin, January, February, March, April, May, June, the second quarter. So, they will pay to the BIR 7,500. Usually, the deadline natin is, this is, 20 days end of the quarter. So, babayaran na nila, no? So, kung June, ang deadline natin is July 20. July 20, 2020. So, ayan. That's for the common career tax. Okay, next is international career. So, yung kanina, domestic career. This one is international careers. Okay? So, the person liable here, foreign careers doing business in the Philippines. So, mga international air careers, international shipping careers, mga international, no? Doing business in the Philippines. So, formula natin, our tax rate is 3%. Quarterly gross receipts pa rin tayo. From transport of cargo from the Philippines, so take note, originated from the Philippines to another country. Okay? So, ang responsible here is foreign carriers. Okay? So, summary rule, kung domestic corporation, no? Domestic meaning residing in the Philippines, ang applicable is value added. So, ang ano lang dito is yung resident foreign corporation. Okay? So, you identify if they are foreign corporation na doing business, no? From the Philippines to another country. So, they are subject for OPT. So, take note ha, domestic careers, value added, but for resident foreign corporation, OPT tayo. Okay? So here, class, this is very important. So the transport of passengers and cargo by a domestic air carrier is subject to 12% value-added tax on its gross sales. So for passengers and cargo, domestic. So they are subject for 12%. However, this exclude the transport of passengers and cargo by a domestic air carrier from the Philippines to a foreign country kasi they are subject for zero-rated. 0% na VAT. No? For international air carriers, yung mga foreign air carriers doing business in the Philippines, they are subject to 3% tax on their gross receipts derived from the transport of cargo from the Philippines to another country. So, ito yung dimension sa National Internal Revenue Code. Okay? Ayan. So, ang mga transport of, ano ba ang transport of katong passengers? So, anong subject sila? Kasi yung cargo lang man ang subject for percentage tax, di ba? So, tingnan natin. RR 15/2015 clarified, transport of both passengers and cargo by international carrier doing business in the Philippines are exempt from VAT. So, exempt, no? Exempt ang passengers, exempt ang cargo sa VAT. However, ang cargo, by common carrier tax. So, yung 3% natin. So, kung naay passenger, so meaning to say, walang VAT, wala ding percentage tax. Diba? For the international carrier. Kung passengers. But for cargo, exempt for VAT kasi they are subject for common carrier tax which is 3%. Okay? So, I hope that is clear. Okay, this is our example. So, China Northern Airlines Incorporated, so foreign carrier. Okay? A resident foreign corporation has the following collections for the quarter ending June 2022 in the second quarter. So, meron tayong passengers airfare from China to Philippines, passengers airfare from Philippines to China, and then meron din tayong cargo from China to Philippines, and airfare for cargos from Philippines to China. So, ano ba yung basic rule? Dapat originating from the Philippines. Originating from the Philippines. But this one is passengers, di ba? Exempt ito ng VAT, exempt din siya ng percentage tax. So, dito lang tayo sa ating cargo. So, only for cargos. Okay? So, 1,300,000 times 3%. So, 39,000. Walang sample. Okay? Okay, next, number 4. So, wala tayong sample there, no? Just identify lang yung kanina, you just identify whether domestic carrier or foreign carrier. And then, dapat originated yung flight from the Philippines going abroad. Subject for OPT, which is 3%. No? Next is tax on franchises. Okay. So, we have two rates here. 2% for gas and water utilities. No? Water utilities. So, mas maliit, no? 2%. While for radio and television broadcasting, 3%. Pero ang kanilang annual gross receipts, so take note ha, annual gross receipt for 12 months does not exceed 10 million. Okay, and they are not VAT registered. So, kung hindi lumampas ng 10 million and they are not VAT registered, they are subject for OPT 3%. But if lumampas na ng 10 million exceed, so magiging VAT registered na sila, and then, kahit na in the succeeding year, mag-below 10M. So, meaning to say, hindi na siya ma-change, no? Once the threshold of 10,000 exceed. So, it will be subject for VAT, even mag-lower down to 10M in the following year. So, mag-VAT na yun sila. So, which is 12% business tax. Okay? And then, for PAGCOR, an operating gain, so 5%. No? You need to memorize this. So, ang clue lang natin, for water and utility, this is basic mangguning household nga needs, no? Kaya konti, mas maliit, which is 2%. Diba? Compared to the rest. Ito, gaming siya, no? Mas malaki, 5%. Ito, ang ating manang, ang general rule, ang general percentage natin sa OPT is 3% man. So, dili kayo ta mag-memorize ini. But ito, the threshold which is 10 million, no? Kung lumampas ng 10 million, makabat na siya. Okay? So, ano lang, no? Memorize mo yan. 2, 3, and 5% for PAGCOR. Okay? We have an example. ABC Company was given a franchise to operate a radio and television station. So, for radio and television, pila gani ang atong rate? 3%. Diba? So, it was on the second year of operation. Their gross receipt is 9 million. So, hindi lumampas ng 10 million. Diba? Kasi kung lumampas ng 10 million, they are subject for value-added tax. So, for January 2021, it had gross receipt, any tax not included, so excluded of tax. So, yung gross receipt niya is 3M. So, excluded yung tax. So, yeah, that's our base, no? Purchase of goods, supplies, and services from VAT-registered supplier, net of tax, and the question here is compute for the business tax. So, titingnan mo muna kung lumampas ng threshold. Okay? Hindi lumampas ng threshold. VAT registered ba? Hindi sinabi. Hindi sinabi kung VAT registered. So, if hindi siya VAT registered, so subject for OPT, 3%. So, yung gross receipt natin is 3M. So, this is our base. 3 million times 3%. So, percentage tax. Pero kung lumampas na ito, no? Nagiging 11M na, no? Sa 2019. Okay? Kung lumampas na ng 10M, so VAT registered siya. Okay? So, magiging VAT na siya, subject for VAT. So, yung ating payable here, Okay, ito yung gross receipt natin, 3 million times 12%, so 360. Kasi mag-VAT na dapat yan, no? So, meron tayong input tax, no? Input tax from your purchase of goods, supplies, and services from your VAT-registered suppliers. So, you get the 12% of it. So, sabi man, net of tax. Net of tax. So, hindi pa kasali si tax. So, 1.8 times 12%, so 216. So, ililess natin ang input tax. So, our VAT payable there is 144,000. Okay? Okay, kasi lumampas. Okay? Pero kung kini-class, kining diri, sabihin kung mayroong clue dito nga, si ABC is VAT registered, even nga 9M lang yan siya, then ABC is VAT registered, diretso ka dito. Diretso ka dito, no? Pero kung hindi sinabi, so kukunin mo muna yung percentage tax. No? Ito, kahit hindi sinabi, no, na non-VAT or VAT registered, subject for VAT na yun siya. Kasi lumampas na ng threshold ng 10 million. Okay? So, lang na siya. Okay, next. Assuming the company was given a franchise to operate, assuming water utility yun. So, for water utility, mas maliit yung OPT natin, which is 2%. Okay? Kasi, mga basic needs, maguna siya sa household, no? Water and katong light, no? 2%. For a franchise granted to operate gas and water utility, pala, gas. No threshold is observed, no? No threshold. Okay? Regardless kung nag-exceed ng 10M, they are subject for 2%. Okay? The 10 million is only applicable to franchise grantees to operate radio and television. But for gas and water utility, wala tayo threshold. Okay? So, kahit lumampas yan, no? Hindi siya subject for VAT o PT siya. Okay? Number 5. Tax on overseas dispatch or message or conversation originating from the Philippines, no? From the Philippines, or known as overseas communication tax, no? Nanawag from the Philippines going abroad to Saudi or what, no? So the person liable here is the caller, the payer of the service. Okay? However, the payee rendering the service, siya ang nag-collect and remit to the BIR. No? So meaning, i-add on na yan sa babayaran ng caller. No? Meron tayong OPT na mas malaki, 10%. 10% of the amount paid for the services. Okay? Originating from the Philippines, and then to other country. We have exemption here. They are the exempted from the 10%, no, nga OPT, mga diplomatic services, international organization pursuant to international agreement, news service, provided that their messages must deal exclusively with the collection or dissemination of news items, basta news, not personal. Okay? So, exempted yan, no? Government ba ito, mga diplomatic, international organization, basta may international agreement, and mga news service, including also the government. So, they are exempted for the 10% overseas dispatch. So, mas malaki siya. Mas malaki. Overseas communication is imposed with the following requisite. So, there is an overseas dispatch, message, or conversation originated from the Philippines, made through telephone, telegrams, o pero napa ba mga overseas dispatch today? Nagyapon, no? Sa telephone. Kasi ngayon, we are using Facebook naman, mga message, mga wala namang mga telegraph, no? Napa ba mga telegraph? Pero kung naagani na yung mga overseas communication, our base is 10%, no? Amount paid for the services. So, and then, siya, for example, 5 pesos per minute or 20 pesos per minute, no? So, i-multiply mo yan per minute and then add ka ng 10%. No? as part of the OPT. So, but for domestic calls, to take note, domestic calls, they are subject for VAT. VAT. Yung mga international call lang, no, subject for OPT, 10% add-on. Okay? Question on this? Okay. Example. So, Will Telecom has the following collection. So, overseas call originating abroad. Ang origination is abroad, so meaning kasali ba yan? No. Dapat kasi ang call originated from the Philippines. So, exclude here. Next, overseas calls originating in the Philippines. Kini, isali yun na siya kasi originating in the Philippines going abroad. Itong local call, subject for VAT yan siya. Okay? So, how much is the overseas communication tax to be remitted? So, ito, hindi tayo mag-base. And usually, ito, may ano na, included na yung tax nito, no? 880,000 kasi ito galing from the caller, no? Add on na yung 10% na na communication tax. So to get the percentage tax there, i-divide muna natin kasi nag-add on na kasi ito. Divide it with 1.1 to get the tax base. Okay? So 800,000 times 10%. Unless sabihin nga this is net of tax. Meaning wala pa included yung tax. Pero silent ang problem si caller kasi ang nagbabayad, so add on na yung 10%. So you need to divide it with 10%. Ha? So 800,000 times 10%, so 80,000. Okay. 6, dito tayo mag-stop. Tax on banks and non-banks financial intermediaries or known as gross receipts. Okay, gross receipts. So person liable here is banks, and then mga non-bank financial intermediaries performing quasi-banking functions. So, performing quasi-banking functions. So, ano ba yung quasi-banking? So, sila yung di ba, nagpa-lend, gani, lending, di ba, ang bank, nagpautang man na. Okay? So, that's quasi-banking function na. No? So, mga non-bank financial but performing quasi-banking. So, ang malaking rate dito is 7%. 7%, no? So, we have 5, 1, 0, 7, and 7%. So, you need to memorize this, no? For interest, commission, and discount from lending activities, as well as income from financial leasing on the basis of remaining maturities of the instrument from which receipts are delivered, your maturity period is 5 years or less. So, sa interest, on interest, commission, and discount. Sa lending activities. So, ang ating OPT is 5% if the maturity is less than 5 years. But if it is more than 5 years, okay, 1% tayo. So, sa mga nagpa-lend, ito lending. Okay? Kasi nalito kayo, ma'am, di ba naman to interest income? Di ba? Iba po to, katong final withholding tax. Kini interest commission from lending activities, no? Sa mga nagpa-lend sila. So, naa siya'y OPT na 5%. No? Ang magbayad ini ang banks and non-banking financial institution. Next, for dividend income, wala, 0%. No? Or equity shares and net income of subsidiary, 0. On royalties, rentals of property, real or personal profits from exchange, and all other items treated as gross income under the income tax law, 7%. Okay? And then on net trading gains on foreign currency, debt instrument, derivative, and other similar financial instrument, net trading gains. So gain, kung walang gain, on loss, of course, anong mag-answer magkuhan pamantang loss, no? So tingnan natin sa gain, 7%. So net gain and loss from foreign currency, computation is cumulative. Net gain and loss to date less gain loss to date to arrive at the net gain or loss for the current month. So usually kung gain niya, siya 7%. Kung kawawa naman kung magbigay pa tayo ng 7% kung loss, no? Net loss from foreign should not be deducted from the other items of receipt, and cumulative computation covers only for 1 year. Okay? Net loss from foreign currency for a month should not be deducted from the other items of receipt. No? So, mga gain and loss to date and arrive, no, to get the current month, no? For a month. Dili siya pwede i-deduct sa other items. So, dito lang siya i-deduct sa katong gain and loss sa foreign currency. So, hindi siya pwede sa other items of receipts. So, if ever may other receipts pa tayo, no? Cumulative computation covers only for 1 year. So, in case the maturity period is shortened through pre-termination, maturity period shall be reckoned to end as of the date of pre-termination. So, pre-termination, at the date of pre-termination. So, I think we have a sample. Okay, this is a domestic bank. So, meron siyang mga data. So, rentals from safety deposit boxes and real property acquired through mortgage foreclosure. May service fees charge siya. Okay? And then, may dividend. So, yung dividend, basta bangko, zero yan. So, meaning wala yang business tax. Okay? So, ito at saka ito lang. Amount received from lending activities on instruments with maturity. 5 years and less. So, kung 5 years and less, pila gani? 5%. Ayan. More than 5 years, 1%. The rest, 7%. Kasi ang katulang zero, ang dividend. Okay? So, dali lang siya i-memorize, no? 7%. Ayan. So, count mo yan lahat. 300 plus 200, 500,000. So, 7%. Okay? The rest is 5 and 1 kasi dividend is 0. So, percentage tax for the month, 165,000. Okay? Next, kini. I hope klaro ni sa inyo, ano? This one, tingnan mo, ha? 10-year yung long-term, long-term loan. 6 million ang inutang. Na-terminate January 31, 2022. Inutang January 1, 2018. So, from January 1, 2018 to January 31, 2022, 4 years and 1 month lang instead of dapat 10 years. Ano? Diba? Diba? Ano yung rule natin? 5 years and below, or below 5 years. Ano? Below 5 years, we got 5%, right? And then more than 5 years, 1%. So, nabilong na siya dapat diri sa 5%, no? Okay? Ang question dito is, how much is the percentage tax? So, kung ito dapat ang base natin kasi, 4 years and 1 month man, hindi man umabot ng 5 years. So, magbi-base tayo ng 5%. So, lang man, sa interest lang man ta, no? So, you compute first on the interest. So, 6 million times 2%, 120. So, times 5%, ito yung tax per year. And then, meron man tayong 4 years and 1 month. So, for 4 years, 6,000 times 4, 24,000. And then, napay isa ka 1 month. Kaya yung 120 divide ng 12 times 5%. So, meron tayong 500. So, dapat ito ang iyahang percentage tax due. Pero yung 2018, 2019 until to 2021, nagbayad man na siya si Mr. Vittorio yung bank. Nagbayad si Credita Bank nagbayad na siya. So magkano ang iyang binayad? Of course, doon siya nagbe-base sa 1% kasi 10 years man 'yun. So tingnan natin, i-compute natin ang kanyang binayad, no? So ito yung interest natin per year times 1%. So this is the percentage tax from January 1, 2018 to 2021 times 4, so 48. Kasi hindi pa man niya nabayad itong sa January. So, nagbayad niya 48. Okay? So, ililess lang natin yun sa 24,500. So, 24,500 minus 48. So, ang kanyang babayaran, 19,700. So, we just change the percentage kasi hindi siya umabot ng 5 years. Okay? And then, of course, we deduct the amount paid. Tingnan natin. Ay, walang sample. Sige, maghanap tayo ng example later, ha? So, i-compare na lang natin. Kasi yung isa, yung number 6, katong non-bank financial intermediaries, tax on banks and non-bank financial intermediaries, no? Mas malaki, may 7%. Ito naman, tax on other non-bank financial intermediaries. Non-bank financial intermediaries. So, ito yung not performing quasi-banking. No? Not performing quasi-banking functions, no? So, mga finance companies, then not performing quasi-banking function. So, sasabihin yan talaga ng problem ha, if they are performing quasi-banking or not performing quasi-banking functions. So, if you will compare, the same lang man, no, for interest, 5, kung maturity period is 5 years or less, 5%. Kung more than 5 years, 1%. Ito lang, no? Kasi yung number 6 natin na tax on banks and other non-banking, 7% yung royalties. This one is 5%, no? For dividends, royalties, rentals of property, real or personal, profits from exchange and all other items. So, tingnan. Number 8, OPT is tax on life insurance premium. Life insurance or known as premium tax. So, life insurance yan ha. So, person liable here is any person, entity offering life insurance in the Philippines except purely cooperative companies or associations. So, exemptions, marami tayong exemptions, no? Premiums refund within 6 months after payment on account of rejection of risk or return for other reason to a person pay the tax. So, exempted yan. Premiums paid upon reissuance by a company that has already paid the tax kasi binayaran na yung tax. Exempt. Premiums collected or received by any branch of a domestic corporation, firm or association doing business outside the Philippines on account of any life insurance of the insured who is a non-resident if any tax on such premium is imposed by the foreign country where the branch is established. Next, premiums collected are received on account of any reinsurance if the insured in case of personal insurance reside outside the Philippines. If any tax on such premium is imposed by the foreign country where the original insurance has been issued or perfected, and then portion of the premiums collected or received by the insurance companies or variable contracts in excess of the amount necessary to insure the lives of the variable contracts workers. So, presidential decree, no? Premium collected by a purely cooperative company or association. So, these are yung mga exemptions na dili siya subject for premium tax. So, again, ang liable dito is yung entity nga nag-o-offer ng life insurance. I think we have an example here. Okay, so let's look in the example. Princess Insurance Company furnish us its data as follows. So, collectible niya is 3,750, 3,750,000. Pero na-breakdown, life insurance and the non-life insurance. Again, we will only get the life insurance. Okay? So, during the quarter, the life insurance premium collected represents 70%. Compute for the premium tax payable. So, ito yung collectible, 3,750,000. So, kunin muna natin yung life insurance. So, multiply natin ng 75 kasi ang 25% is non-life, no? So, 2,812,500. Okay? And then, yung nakolekta. Cash basis kasi yung BIR. So, times 70%. So, ito yung life insurance collected. Okay? And then, our rate is 2%. Okay? For life insurance. 2%. So, our percentage tax is 39,375. So, ano bang sa non-life? No? I think this is part of value-added VAT na ito, no? Kasi kinilang ang OPT, the rest for non-life is part of the value-added tax. Okay. Next is tax on agents on foreign insurance company or still as premium tax. So, kung agent siya, this is for fire, marine, or miscellaneous. 4% of premium collected, no? So, tax on agent of foreign insurance. Foreign insurance. So, owners of property who obtains insurance directly with foreign companies, 5% of premium paid. Pero kung with agent, 4%. Kung directly with foreign companies, 5%. So, let's look. Quarantino wants to procure fire insurance for his mansion from ABC Insurance, a non-resident. No? foreign, non-resident foreign corporation through his agent. There's an agent in the Philippines. He paid premium in 2020 amounting to 5M. How much is the premium tax? So, na-agent, okay, in the Philippines, si Mr. Corona. So, pila ang ihang premium tax? So, premium collected natin is 5M. Percentage tax rate is 4%. So, 200,000 ang ating percentage tax. Kasi nag-ano siya ng agent. Kung walang agent, assuming Quarantino directly obtain insurance policy from ABC. So, 5% tayo, percentage tax. So, again, this is for foreign insurance company. Okay, next is amusement taxes. Okay, so this amusement taxes, ang laki ng mga percentage tax natin, no? Compared to value-added tax. Pero ang pinakamaliit is 10% boxing exhibition. The rest is 15, 18, 30. No? Ang laki, no? Ang laking babayaran nila na business tax. So, person liable here is the proprietor, lessee, or operator of cockpits, ng mga pasugal, di ba? Cabarets, cockpits, cabaret, 18 sila, ha? Night or day clubs, boxing exhibition, professional basketball games, high alay, and racetracks. So, malaki, 30%. Kaya sugal, magudi siya. No? So, may regulation, no? 30%. Then, yung isa naman is 18, no? Cockpits, cabaret, nightclub, or day club, 18. Ang professional basketball game, 15. Laki-laki din, no? Boxing is konti lang, 10. No? So, okay lang ni siya, 10. Compared to VAT, no? Mas makatipid. Okay. Exemption here. Gross receipts from boxing exhibition may be exempted from percentage tax provided the following requisites are met. Okay, provided. So, they are exempted. So, dapat magingani sila, no? Mag-organize sila na may world or oriental championship is at stake. See, they are exempted from percentage tax. Okay? One of the contenders is a citizen of the Philippines. So, boxing. Kung naa si Manny Pacquiao, they are exempted for the percentage tax. Wow. Okay? Promoted by citizens of the Philippines or by a corporation or association, at least 60% of the capital of which is owned by such citizen. The following requisites are met, no? For boxing lang ito, ha? Sa boxing lang. So, World or Oriental Championship, contender is in the Philippines. Dapat lahat ata, no? Na requisite makuha ito, no? 60% of the capital which is owned by such citizen. So, take note if the proprietor, lessee, or operator of the amusement place also operates at the same time within the premises, there is a bar or restaurant, kung naay bar, the receipts of the bar or restaurant shall form a part of gross receipts subject to amusement tax. Kung the same time, no? Kung sila din yung nagmamay-ari. However, if such bar or restaurant is operated by third person, the gross receipt thereof shall be subject either as VAT or 3% OPT. No? For amusement tax, katong may mga amusement place, no? Meron silang bar or restaurant, kung sila din nagmamay-ari nun, so they are still subject for amusement tax. So, parihan niya po ni. Silang nagmamay-ari. Pero kung hindi, third person, either OPT or VAT na. No? OPT or VAT. So, kung high alay on racetrack, 30% man yan, so dapat may third person ka na, no? Para maka-lesser tayo ng tax. No? Gawa tayo ng third, ng other cooperative na dapat hindi the same yung nagmamay-ari sa place. No? Para maka-lesser. Kasi 30%, imagine, 30% compared to 12% or 3% OPT. And also for cockpits, cabaret, pero usually for nightclubs, diba, the same, nagmamay-ari niyan, the same person lang din. So, 18% din sila. For basketball games also, no? Pero kung third person na yan, so may 3% sila. So, again, 10 ang ating pinaka-lowest. Ang pinaka-highest natin is 30%. So, boxing lang, 10%. Basketball games, 15%. CCC, mga clubs, 18%. Ang high alay and racetracks, 30%. So, memorize that, ha? I think we have some sample. Okay, we have sample. This sporting company, a sports promoter, 100% Filipino corporation. Di ba may ano tayo doon, 60%? Dapat na exempt no? Tingnan natin, ha? In a month, it promoted and had gate receipts from the following international competition. Ping pong, basketball, 2 million. Boxing, world heavyweight champion with a Filipino as a defending champion. Volleyball, tennis. May satellite pa. No? Napay advertisement o gross receipt on each event. Advertising streamers. Ambulant vendors within the arena also provided by the company gave it gross receipt in each event of 250,000. How much is the percentage tax for the month? So, ping pong, volleyball, and tennis are not specifically included in Section 125. So, yung dimension lang basketball, boxing, di ba? Yung sa pa. Tingnan natin ito, no? So, yung gross receipts from the gate na 2 million, asa man yung 2 million sa basketball. Okay, 2 million. So, exclude here. Let's have here. No? Kasi ping pong, hindi siya included. Volleyball, hindi. Tennis, hindi, no? So, si basketball, gross receipt from satellite, and then from advertiser, and then from the vendor, no? Silent man ang problem. Sila din ang nagmamay-ari niyan. Okay, how about this one? Filipino defending champion, 100%. They are, di ba, exempt. Okay, exempt yan. Kasi 100% Filipino. Ang ating threshold is pila ganito? Only 60%. Okay? So, lumampas. No? So, exempt. Ayan. And then, 15% for basketball games. Okay. Time's up. Gate receipt from boxing are exempted because all requisites are present for its exemption. If one of those not present, this will be subject to 10% amusement tax. So, dapat na ano siya, no? At least 60% ang Filipino owners na ay defending champion na Filipino world class or world heavyweight championship. Diba? So, tatlong requisite yun. So, nandun siya, they are not subject for 10% amusement tax, so exempted. No? Gross receipts from ambulant vendors are included kasi hindi sinabi na this is third person, third party. No? So, meaning to say, the same company yan. Unless sabihin na they are managed by third party, so included. So, ang mga hindi included, ping pong, kasi not part of the Section 125, volleyball and tennis. Ha? So, I hope clear yan siya. Okay, so, ang pinaka-lowest natin is 4%. The rest is 10. Okay? 10% of winnings or dividends, owners of the winning horses, 10% of the prize. So, let's look. The cash received on winnings in a double horse race, net of bet on the game, and net of withholding tax on winning is 192,000. Net of tax winnings. Okay? Compute for the percentage tax withheld. So, ang magbayad dito, class, katong nakadaog. Nakadaog, no? Yung person nga nanalo sa mga winning horses. Ha? Take note ha, iba yung amusement tax. Kasi nagkuan mo, napunto sila kasi part man sa mga amusement, no? Pero ang kini siya sa katong mga nakadaog. Okay? Gina-withheld siya ng percentage tax. Okay? So, this is withholding tax on winnings, no? Double horse. So, double forecast, nandun siya sa special winnings. O special winnings sa double forecast, kinela, trifecta, in horse races. So, 4% of winnings or dividend. So, net naman of withholding tax, yung 192. So, kukunin muna natin yung gross. No? 192 divided by 96 kasi 4%. No? 100 minus 4%. So this is our gross. Then get the percentage tax 4%. So our percentage tax is 8,000. Okay? Assuming that the winnings mentioned is from ordinary winnings. Kung ordinary winnings, okay, ordinary winnings, compute for the percentage tax. Okay, compute. Pero the same gihapon, no? 4% gihapon ang yung withheld. Ambot nang kung tama ba ni? Dapat 19 eh siya. No? Kasi kung ordinary winnings, 10%. No? Kasi damali si Sir, ano nito, Cabarubias. Kasi from ordinary winnings, and gina-withheld na yung tax, okay? Kung gina-withheld ang tax, ana, so gina-withheld na. Siguro ang withholding lang niya is only 4%. No? Depende po na, no? So, let's assume na gina-withheld lang is 4%. Meaning to say, ang magbayad pag yun siya, no? Magbayad tong nakadaog ng additional 6% sa BIR. Pero anong magbayad pa man siya, no? Hindi na niya na-i-declare. So, dapat ang gina-withheld na sa company, 10%. So, let's research natin ito. Bakit 96% ito? No? Nag-base gapon siya sa 4% na withheld. So, siguro naa siya withholding at 4%. So, kailangan nga i-add sa kanyang income tax katong nakadaog. 200,000 times 10%. So, 20,000. So, i-search natin ito, ha? Tax on winnings. Bakit 96? Withheld ng 4. Okay, next. Tax on sale, barter, or exchange of shares of stock listed and traded. Okay, through the local stock exchange, or we call it stock transaction tax. So, ang rate natin maliit. 6/10 of 1%. So, gamay kayo ni. So, 6 divided by 10 times 1% of the gross selling price. So, gamay kayo ang percentage tax ini. So, this is for stock transaction tax. So, person liable here is the seller or transferor of the shares of stock, whether individual, citizen or alien, so corporation or other taxpayers such as estate, trust fund, and pension fund. However, the following are not liable for the tax on such sale. So, dito gyud ta mo ato sa dealer in securities. Kung naman siya VAT, ay subject to VAT. Investor in share of stock in a mutual fund upon redemption of said shares of stock in a mutual fund. All other persons, whether natural or juridical, were specifically exempt from national internal revenue taxes under existing investment incentive and other special laws. Okay, so dapat dealer in securities. So ito lang yung mga not liable for tax on such sales. So, the taxpayer is not a dealer in securities with the following sales of shares. Kasi kini man sila naani siya dealer, naani katong kanang di ba magkwanta sa numora na may tax, no? So dealer man gito sa security na sila special tax, no? So ito, kung not dealer, so kamay kayo ang percentage tax natin, 6/10 of 1%, okay? With the following sales of shares of a stock domestic corporation, the Philippine Stock Exchange. So magbe-base sa selling price, 1-2. Hindi magbe-base sa gain. Okay? Selling price. Selling price. Okay? 1% of 6/10. Kamay ra kaayo. So you just exclude the gain. Ay, di ba gain man kung dealer, dito sila magbe-base sa gain. Okay, so on the date of percentage tax is 16/3/20. So again, this is through local stock exchange, stock listed and traded. Yung last is IPO, no? Initial public offering. So first time talaga, no, gi-offer sa public. So IPO. Shares of stock in closely held corporation, also known as stock transaction tax. So person liable here is primary offering, issuing corporation, and secondary offering, seller, shareholders of shares. Okay, so they are the person liable. Pero i-ratio pa, so puti siya class, no? So titingnan mo kasi siya based on total outstanding shares of stock, no? So tax rate natin is tax shall be based on the gross selling price or gross value in money of the shares of stock sold. Pero you need to get the ratio. Kasi 4%, 25% and below, more than 25%, 2%. So, dapat kung IPO ka, dapat yun, ang imong target is more than 33 and 1/3, no, na shares ang mabenta. Kasi 1%, no? Gamay lang. Compare kung 25% and below, dako kayo 4%. 4, 2, and 1. Okay? So, may threshold tayo 25% and below. So, let's look. Closed corporation, so take note, closely held. Dapat na ani, no? Offered for the first time its own shares of stock at a par of 20 pesos per share. The authorized capital stock is 5 million, and then with 2 million outstanding capital stock before the IPO. So based tayo sa outstanding, no? The gross receipts at its initial public offering was 600,000. Muna yung gross receipt. Compute for the percentage tax. So, ang ating ratio class, no? Based on outstanding shares, so itong 600,000, apil naman is outstanding. So, kaya 2 million plus 600, 26 ang ating base. Okay? And then, yung gross receipt, 600. Divided by 26, so ratio natin is 23%. So, 23% dito. Ito yung rate. So, malaki. No? Gross receipt, 600,000 times 4%. So, our percentage tax is 24,000. So, magbe-base tayo sa outstanding shares, no? Hindi base sa authorized capital. So, base sa outstanding shares. Okay? Included na yung gi-offer, no? Of course, kasi nabenta naman din, no? So, before, ito yung outstanding, and then may nabenta ulit. So, yung total outstanding shares natin is 2,600,000. So, kukunin muna yung ratio kung saan siya nabilong. So, 4%. Okay? Let's have another. Okay. Wala na. So, filing and payment of tax. So, again, general rule, kasi because of the new train law, nagbago, wala nang, may mga monthly pero bihira na. Majority is quarterly, no? You use 2551Q based on gross sales, receipts, or earnings. Then 25 days after the end of the taxable quarter. So, January, February, March. So, April bayaran. April, May, June, July bayaran. July 25 dapat, no, nakabayad na. Pero, moreover, any person retiring from a business subject to percentage tax shall notify the nearest internal revenue, no, within 20 days after closing his business. However, there are exemptions to the general rule. No? So, ito lang yung mga exemption to the rule based on the new train law. Tax on winnings, dapat 20 days from the date of the date withheld. Stock transaction, dapat 5 days, banking days from the date withheld by the broker. And then, katong IPO, 30 days from the date of listing in the local stock exchange. And the amusement tax and overseas communication tax, 20 days after the end of the quarter. So, kana lang, no, ang exemption. Pero majority, quarterly. No? Katong 3% na sa mga career tax, no? Common career. Overseas dispatch is monthly, no? Amusement tax monthly. So, katong normal nga 3%, so quarterly siya. Okay? Ito lang yung hindi. Okay? And then, in addition to the deadlines of percentage tax, the following must also be taken in payment of percentage tax for some industries. Mayroong mga withholding percentage tax, government-owned controlled, no? Naga-withheld sila. 3% taxes due from the pays on account of such money payments. So, naga-withheld sila, no? As well as their subsidiaries. Bureau offices and instrumentalities of the government, they withheld 3%. Mga advance payment of percentage tax, sa raw sugar and refined sugar, advance payment sa VAT money or OPT, no? Before the sugar is withdrawn from any sugar refinery mill. For taxpayers who are not VAT registered and exempt from VAT under the tax code, the amount of advance percentage tax shall be determined by applying the 3% receipt, provided that cooperative shall be exempt from 3% gross receipt. No? Exempt from advance payment, mga sugar. no? Mga sugar ito. Meron silang advance. So take note kini pud no, kung naatay mga kini usually makalimutan man gud ni sa government no. Nagawidal ka sila ng 3%. So ilalas mo yung withholding from the government na 3%. So ang babayaran mo sa BIR net of the withholding. Okay? So this is the form 2551M for monthly and 2551Q. This is the general form for quarterly. Okay? Ay, wala na. Wala na.